It's been about a week, and I think enough time has gone by to comment on this Concord situation from the game's perspective, or at least show what other people, are thinking, get your own thoughts and opinions, and please leave them in the comment section. So, this game is one which I just wish was never made, that the development team took a different approach, because I hate seeing games fail. Because I realize, and I'm sure many of you do, that in a development studio, there are sincere people who came there to do their job. They came to do what they felt they were being told to do to push a project forward. Creative decisions were not theirs. Writing decisions were not theirs, but they're going to go ahead and suffer from, whatever repercussions the game will suffer from. So I will put a blame on something like this to creative teams and the publishers, because the publishers allowed for the creative teams to just basically go ahead and make what they thought was going to be good without actually paying close attention to how the industry was basically going to receive a game like this. In all retrospect, I think we can basically take a look at Paul Tassi's article, where he writes 10 reasons PlayStation's Concord has failed disastrously. This is a very interesting article. We're going to speed run through the 10 of them. And before we start, those of you who are listening and hearing the news of the PS5 Pro, if you're looking to cop a PC component that can basically beat the PS5 and will more than likely smoke the PS5 Pro because it's a desktop CPU that can game, the Ryzen 5 5500 has basically dipped to shreds in terms of how much the CPU costs. $82. Buy it and put it in your closet. You'll know what to do when the time comes around. Number one reason Paul Tassi writes is it's $40. Well, there are many free-to-play games. This one is a no-brainer. $40 is basically like, we don't know if we want to play. However, though, even though we can probably go with this $40, price point, we always can look at Helldivers 2, which was also $40 and got to sell 12 million copies. So could it be that it's just the $40 price point, or could there be something more? I don't know, Paul. I don't think this is actually a reason that we can actually stick with. But if anyone thinks that, this is probably one of the reasons that we can take at face value, then I guess sure. But PlayStation just released another one that cost $40 that sold 12 million. So if the $40 price tag is probably the issue here, then okay, I guess. But I'm not convinced that this is actually a reason that's valid enough. Number two, hero shooter oversaturation. All you have to do now is say the phrase hero shooter now, and it's an instant turnoff for most players. While yes, hero shooters like Overwatch, Apex Legends, Valorant remain decently popular, new entries are almost instantly shunned, and that's exactly what happened to Concord here from the moment that aspect of the game was revealed. I don't know, man. I mean, First Descendant, third-person looter shooter, I thought that was actually well received, don't you think? Of course, it's in a different category. Of course, it's a different kind of game in terms of third-person shooter, but it seemed like it came into an already saturated market in a sense and still got good reception. Number three, Paul writes, it takes 8 years. It took 8 years to make. Let's see. While that may signify that Firework was working hard on the game for years, it's also clearly indicative of the fact that this went into production right when Overwatch launched, and for some reason took nearly a decade to release, and by this point feels dated. Interesting. Every game by the time it launches is kind of dated, because if it goes into production 3-4 years previously, another game that was in production before it, that tried to do something that will match the future or follow a vision will look newer, and then that game will probably look. So I don't know about this. It took 8 years to make. A good game is a good game, even if it took 10 years to make or whatnot. Does that make sense? Absolutely no game should take this long to make. None. And if one does, something has gone terribly wrong. Like what? Number 4 says extremely poor hero design and aesthetics. A core problem with this game is that it's just viscerally unappealing. The game attempts to channel 70s sci-fi, an era that existed 30-40 years ago before its target audience was born. And even then, it still just looks terrible. The main issue here is not character diversity, as some have said, just that they look so bad. You can head over to Overwatch to see, let's say, not traditionally attractive characters like Junkrat, Roadhog, and a Gorilla to see the aesthetics. What do you mean by non-traditionally attractive characters? by not... Does this game have attractive characters, but they're just not appealing? Or does this game not have attractive characters that are still not appealing? I guess I can't necessarily break down what is being said here. He put this picture here of this character. So is he trying to say that this character, even if they're not, traditionally the attractive characters that you see in video games, the aesthetics is still poor? Because he's talking about even a gorilla in this case, or Junkrat. I don't even know Overwatch characters. I don't play Overwatch. And so it's kind of weird to kind of like try to decipher what is being said here. But we'll keep reading. The Anti-Woke Crusade number 5. Some are citing the game with its character design and pronouns in their bios as being the woke reason for the game failed. That the game failed. Interesting. That does somewhat link into the above, but not for the characters or not hot enough reasons. The real issue here is that yes, Concord did instantly launch with an internet hate campaign attached to it. That is not the reason the game failed, but it's just another thing dragging it down. Really? I would think that this is probably number 1. Anyways, Paul Tassi is not a doctor, so I won't let him diagnose a medical condition. But it's just another thing dragging it down. And now the loudest people on the internet are, of course, saying the game went woke, as such went broke. While this is an industry that awarded 50 GOTY trophies to the hyper-woke Baldur's Gate 3 last year, it still remained an unavoidable, distracting part of Concord's discussion since moment 1. Well, that's weird. If you consider Baldur's Gate 3 hyper woke, yet getting awarded trophies, and then this game, people saying that it's woke and then basically plummeting and failing, how does that correlate? Because the awarding of trophies does not correlate with the sales of a game. So perhaps maybe the people who think the games aren't woke are probably maybe giving awards, and the people who think the games are woke are probably the ones buying the games, right? And so the ones that are buying the games refuse not to buy this game, but then decided to buy Baldur's Gate 3. Is that what you're saying? Again, this is muddled. This is all muddied up to me. I can't get a sense of what's being said here. Another thing, too, that you must think about Baldur's Gate is that Baldur's Gate actually is Baldur's Gate Part 3. It's a game that had already been established with a community of gamers for years. So whether the game was woke, you'd have to judge through the Baldur's Gate series to see if that's how its audience perceived the game as. And I don't think they did, hence they paid money for the game. So maybe the award people thought it was woke enough. Maybe somehow the developers convinced the award people that it was woke enough and got awards from y'all. But they were still able to convince their audience that it wasn't woke, so their audience gave them money. I don't know what's going on here. I'm just sitting here trying to decipher what's being said. I don't know, bro. No marketing. Again, blah, 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 blah. Focus on mocap animations, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that's a reason. Like, what? They did cutscenes. Isn't that what PlayStation players usually like? I don't know. Gameplay doesn't stand out, okay? It's like Overwatch and like other games that are hero shooters. Still, though, you had First Descendant come out. I mean, its gameplay stood out for sure. To me, as a Division player, I thought this was actually pretty cool. When I saw some gameplay, I won't play it because I don't play a lot of these shooters. It's derivative of so many things. Again, the concept and the characters are subpar, and then it's drowned out. Not by other hero shooters, but at this exact moment, no one is paying attention to anything else other than Wukong's 2.2 million concurrent players and the fact that Valve officially announced Deadlock the same night Concord was released. Well, we saw some of those leaked screenshots of Deadlock, and it doesn't seem like it's facing the character attractiveness or appealing problem or the hero design problem, and Deadlock seems like it's going to be fine. I kept pointing to First Descendant. Do you know what happened with First Descendant? Paul Tassi first started out looking at First Descendant and saying, it's not a great game, I'm loving it, and then is now addicted to the same Paul Tassi to First Descendant. Why is he addicted to First Descendant and Concord is not doing it for him? He likes third-person games? Maybe. That's what he says here when he writes it. He says, how does he put it? Farming guns and characters, prestiging, all of this cool stuff. Paul, I need 10 reasons why you are addicted to this game. Some of you, hey. Guys, go to the comment section, man. Go to the comment section. I think there's something that's very interesting in the contrast as to how, somehow First Descendant is a game that he's addicted to. And Concord is one that is not appealing to him. I wonder what it is. Now, I don't play hero shooters, so I'm just here looking from the outside going, I wonder why one is addictive and the other one isn't. When one of them, there's no problem. When both of them, there's no problem with their gameplay. Or did Sony and PlayStation underestimate its fans? Did it think it was going to serve its fans something that was subpar in terms of what its fans and its demographics actually did like and get away with it? I strongly believe that the leadership at Firewalk need to basically rethink why they came to make video games. It's very simple. They need to rethink why they came to make video games. Did they come to make video games for their audiences? Or did they come to make video games for themselves to feel good? Did they come to target an audience that is a paying audience? Or did they come to target an audience that does not exist? These are the questions that you got to ask, man. Because again, you see, a lot of these developers ran around here. Nobody checked them. And they kind of thought that they had the monopoly on gamers' wallets. When in reality, there are devs that are leveraging what is already available in the market to really compete. And it's just insane. Epic Games is insane, giving away this massive engine. You guys don't understand the disruption that Team Sweeney has caused in the market. Like, y'all don't even understand how impactful it is. But I think we're starting to see some of the, just some of the crumbs. Y'all wait just the next few years. You won't be able to tell what came out of a traditional AAA studio versus what came out of a studio of like 40 people. You won't be able to tell the difference pretty soon. And then those numbers will continue to trim down more and more. When 2, 3, 4 guys or gals will come together and make a massive, good-looking, well-playing game. Because that's how the industry is transforming. That's what's happening right now. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section why you think Concord failed. Why did you not play? Why did you not buy it? If you even played First Descendant and you saw Concord, what was your reaction across the board? Thanks for watching. Peace out.